Watcher is not just a later Jewish term. It does show up in the Bible. So don't leave here and get the mistaken notion that watcher is just an Enochian term. It actually does show up in Daniel. And it's always accompanied with the phrase Holy One. So a watcher is a Holy One, which means by this time in Daniel, in Israelite history and theology, you have good watchers. Okay, it's not the point is not that they're all evil. The ones in Genesis 6 are viewed as evil. But here you have 3 examples where they're good guys. In the vision of my mind in my bed, Daniel says, I saw a watcher, that is a holy one, coming down from heaven. This is when he's going to interpret Nebuchadnezzar's dream. And he gets the edict passed down, the decree passed down by the watchers as to what's going to happen. The watcher, that is the holy one whom the king saw descend from the heavens, saying, so on and so forth. Here's the phrase, watcher, holy one. Daniel 4:23, the sentence is decreed by the watchers. This verdict is commanded by the holy ones. This verse is really interesting because it really gives them power. Okay, the point is not that they've come up with a sentence that God doesn't know about, but the point is that they are council members, and the council has decided, in Daniel 7, you have that council meeting, that this is what's going to happen. So there's some degree of participation, decision-making here in the council. In the book of 1 Enoch and other intertestamental Jewish texts, the watchers are evil. We know about that. You've heard enough about that. In 2 Enoch 18, the number of the fallen watchers is put at 200. That's an interesting number that we'll see later. They were sentenced to imprisonment within the earth for their corruption of human race. Again, we've seen these motifs, so I'm not going to read this whole thing for you, but they are reprimanded here. Down here you have, from henceforth you will not ascend into heaven into all eternity, and in bonds of the earth the decree has gone forth to bind you for all the days of the world, so on and so forth. 1 Enoch 18, I saw a deep abyss with the columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of fire fall. This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars, okay, angelic beings, and the host of heaven. Let me go back here. 1 Enoch 20. Uriel, one of the holy angels who is over the world and over Tartarus. That's really interesting. Uriel is the one who is over Tartarus, which is the place of the abyss where the watchers get sent. And here we have a reference to Gabriel, one of the holy angels who is over paradise and over the serpents and the cherubims. This appears to separate the categories. Maybe they are. Maybe this is just what we call in literature a hendiadys, which is a repetition. Other references to the place where the watchers get sent. 2 Peter, God did not spare the angels when they sinned, but sent them to Tartarus, committed them to chains of deepest darkness, so on and so forth. The nature of their sin is somehow linked to sexual activity. We've talked about this before. In this phrase in Jude, referring to the angels who did not keep their own place, left their proper dwelling, he has kept in eternal chains and deepest darkness. Again, these are Enochian phrases right in the New Testament. In some cases, they're word-for-word quotes. Likewise, Sodom and Gomorrah and the surrounding cities, which in the same manner as them indulged in sexual immorality and pursued unnatural lust. Unnatural, again, heaven and earth. Serve as an example. Of course, the question, does them refer to the cities or to the angels? And grammatically, as I pointed out before, it refers to the angels because of gender number agreement. We're not going to worry about the grammar here. Let's add something else to make the mix a little more interesting. So you've got watchers that are bound in the abyss, in Tartarus, this place with deep, dark chains and all that stuff. You have references to angels guarding serpents. You have references to good watchers and bad ones. Let's complicate things a little more. Uriel said to me, here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women. We know who they are. And their spirits, assuming many different forms, okay, are defiling mankind and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Now, wait a minute. If they're in prison, who's doing this? Who are these guys? If the watchers are in prison, what are these spirits? How can the spirits of the watchers plague humanity again when they're in prison? They're either bound or not. The punishment was pretty ineffective. Again, we're going to muddy the waters even more, and then we'll try to sort this out. But now the giants, who are born from the union of the spirits and the flesh, shall be called evil spirits. Their dwelling shall be upon the earth, And inside the earth, evil spirits have come out of their bodies, because from the day that they were created from the holy ones, they were watchers. Now here we have Enoch calling the giants watchers, saying they're evil spirits. They live upon the earth and inside the earth. What is this? What's going on here? Here's what we have in this mess. And believe me, this is why scholars of Jewish angelology just won't pull their hair out. You have watchers in prison in Tartarus, or the abyss. You have watchers' spirits that are still free to go run around the earth. These spirits can change form. You have giants fathered by the spirits, the watchers, apparently referring to the original offenders of Genesis 6 who were in prison. But then you have giants themselves called watchers or evil spirits. And then you have them in the earth and on the earth. And pun intended, what in hell is going on here? It sure looks like a messed up place. And here's my attempted explanation. Okay, hold on to your hats here. The original watchers who committed the sin of Genesis 6 are in prison according to all these texts. All the traditions, including the Greek Titan story, puts them there until the end times. Okay, that's one group. The offspring of these watchers, who were the Nephilim giants, were half watcher and half human. Thus, it is true that they are watcher from birth. Okay, at least half of them, they have that line. As such, when a giant was killed by flood, cannibalism, Enoch refers to this a couple times, or an archangel, only the human side died. The spirit, the watcher half, lived on as a watcher. The spirit or watcher who came out of their bodies. These subsequent generation watchers were also called Shadim, the demons. And again, I've said before, this is the Jewish explanation for where demons come from. These watcher demons may be in the abyss, but they may also be upon the earth. They're not imprisoned, only the original ones are. And I have here a cross-reference to Mastema, who is the leader of the watchers in one Enochian text. This word can be linked to the word Satan, and so this might be Satan, but I'm not going to worry about that now. They are thus in the earth and upon the earth. They can assume many forms, and they want to be worshipped as gods. They solicit and receive sacrifice as gods. This is the picture of Jewish demonology, I guess would be more fair to say. Here's the kicker. Again, one fragmentary text from Qumran, 4Q Amram, manuscript B, tells us that watchers had a serpentine appearance. Now here's the text. This is fragmentary. I'm sorry this isn't very clear. I couldn't find a way. Well, actually, didn't have access to a good photocopier when I needed to do this, but could have enlarged it. This line here, this is the scroll from Qumran. It's Aramaic. You see the edge here where it was rolled up. This line here, the text is describing watchers. And let me just give you the context. Amram, who is the father of Moses. Now, we don't know from the text whether this is the father of Moses or just another guy named Amram. He sees two watchers fighting essentially over his body, over his person. Whether either before death or after death, or this is part of the death process. Like, where are you going to go? Who's going to rule over you? And he has two watchers, and one of them says to him, who do you want? Which one of us do you want to rule over you? That's significant because in the New Testament, there's actually a passage where Satan and Michael are fighting over the body of Moses. Okay, it's a different situation there. People have wondered if this relates to that passage, that odd passage. But this line says that one of the watchers, his appearance was fearsome like a serpent. And this line down here says, again, in his appearance, he was, let me read it here, he was like an asp. An asp, of course, is a different kind of serpent. This is the text transliterated here, but we're not going to take the time to go through it. This book, by the way, the most accessible place you can find this text is in a book by Michael Wise and Robert Eisenman called The Dead Sea Scrolls Uncovered. Okay, it has a nice little couple paragraph write-up on it. Problems. If watchers can be and still are good, are even the good ones serpentine naturally? Is that just what they look like? Keep in mind the Watchers are the sons of God. I still have questions about this. What's the relationship between the Watchers and the sons of God, and the seraphim? The texts just aren't clear on this. And if not, what's with the Serpentine thing? 1 Enoch 20 distinguishes the original Watchers in the abyss or Tartarus from the serpents. We saw this text. Okay, so there may be a distinction here. However, it's obvious that the fallen Nakash is Serpentine and that he rules in the earth, the arts, where the Watcher demons operate.